We've got 16 discs that we've never thrown, and some discs and brands we've never even heard of. From 3D printed discs to controversial brands that went bankrupt, rock hard plastics from Amazon, and even discs from the founders of Frisbees at Wamo. Hey everyone, it's Greg from Six Sided Discs, and what I'm going to do today is tell you everything that I could learn about these discs and how they fly in 1 minute per disc. Why though, you might be asking? Well, one of our favorite things to do is research and learn about discs and manufacturers, where they come from, what makes their discs different or unique, and why people should or shouldn't care to throw them. We make a new video every week, and when planning those videos and which series is up next, we come upon discs, whether old or new, that we want to know more about. But these discs don't always fit into the stories that we want to tell or the comparisons that we want to do, which is exactly why we need this video today. So without further ado, let's get started. This is the Crownme Morning. Yep, that's really what it's called. Crownme Morning Midrange reminds me of the Disco discs or the Eagle wigs that we threw recently from our brands sold on Temu. But this time, Crownme is an Amazon-only special. Crownme Disc Golf comes from Sunny Sporting Co. Ltd. Of Guangdong, China. And Sunny Sporting Co. Ltd. specializes in figure skating? Yep, anyways, this plastic is the hardest, stiffest I may have ever felt. Perhaps until another disc that we'll see in a moment. How should it fly though? Well, no clue. There are no flight numbers or information other than it's a mid-range. But let's see for ourselves. On forehand, it didn't really fly, though that could have been my fault. But on backhand, it's not bad. Thrown flat, it holds straight before a minimal fade. And on hyzer, it thinks about flipping up, but it actually carries for a slightly overstable flight. Time's up. This is the Sacred Discs Starship. Sacred Discs is a collaboration between longtime touring pro Nico Locastro and Lone Star Disc. Sacred Discs now has 5 approved molds since 2023. The Starship, which we have here in glow plastic, is rated at 13.6 -1.2, making it a long-distance driver that they say is reliably stable with high glide and a wide rim. According to Sacred Discs marketing, they aspire to enrich the disc golf experience by meticulously infusing their product line with the uplifting essences of sacred plants and minerals. In other words, a recent release in their aroma line had lavender infused in the plastic. How does the smell affect the flight? Well, we don't know, but how does this glow Starship fly? Well, on backhand it starts to flip up, but resists turning and instead gets a big sweeping fade. And on forehand and a slight anhyzer, it holds that angle, resists turn, but also doesn't fade, creating an interesting forehand shape and solid distance. Time's up. This is the Goliath Discs Pillar. Goliath is a disc golf manufacturer from Northwest Iowa. They're actually owned by Goliath Sporting Goods, a sporting goods store from Spirit Lake, Iowa. They're a faith-based company and their discs names all reflect that, with names like Arc, Slingshot, Redemption, and more. The Pillar is an overstable putt and approach disc, rated at 3204, and has a similar shape to an Innovatoro or Discraft Zone, but perhaps a little deeper. This pillar is the Team Series Gloasis Pillar, a glow plastic version for Team Goliath's Matt Bell. And considering we thought it was like a zone, we were not prepared for this. Oh, holy crap. What?
Zone my.
This is much more Zone OS than Zone. On as much anhyzer as Caleb could do, it was still super overstable. And very much the same for me. Time's up. This is the Daredevil Great Horned Owl. Daredevil is an artistic animal-themed disc golf manufacturer from Canada, the same place where they manufacture those discs. They make several different lines, including standard ultimate discs, the Frosty, a cold weather ultimate disc, and even ultimate discs for juniors. They have a full line of 28 disc golf discs. The Great Horned Owl, rated at 2301, is an interesting putter. The shape is unlike most putters on the market. The top mold above the parting line is big and chunky, with a smooth shape up to the top of the flight plate, but while the bottom mold cuts in sharply to a big bead. What's also interesting is the plastic texture on the bottom of the rim and the bottom of the disc is unpolished. Instead of having that shine and grip, it's a dull, slippery texture. For both Caleb and I, the Great Horned Owl was surprisingly more understable than the flight numbers would suggest. Time's up. This is the Black Zombie Discs Berserker. And that's Berserker with a Z, not to be confused with the Viking Discs Berserker with an S. Black Zombie Discs are from Austin, Texas. And they say on their Facebook page they are, quote, capturing the dark, more intense side of life. Like many upstart disc golf companies, their discs are manufactured by Gateway Disc Sports in Missouri. The Berserker was approved by the PDGA in 2018. It's rated at 12.403 and has been compared by Black Zombie to Innova's Excalibur, a very fast, very overstable driver. So let's see if it is just as overstable as they say. For Caleb on backhand, it was indeed quite overstable, just holding a pushing hyzer. However, on my forehand on the slightest of anhyzers, I was surprised to see it hold that turnover for quite a long time before it got a tiny fade. Time's up. This is the Launch Cipher. Launch is a disc golf company from the United Kingdom, where they make all of their discs at their factory in Derbyshire. Launch Disc Golf have 7 total approved molds since they launched in July of 2020. The Cipher was their very first driver, approved by the PDGA in September of 2020. Rated at 8.4-12, the Cipher is supposed to be a straight to overstable workhorse fairway driver that can work on forehands or backhands. They also recommend it for players of any skill level. I guess we'll see if that's the case between Caleb and I. This one we have is in their glow plastic, and for Caleb on backhand, it was super overstable, no flip up at all. On forehand for myself, it was more of the same, super overstable. So I'm not sure I would say that's useful for all skill levels, but time's up. This is the Hooligan Yeet. Rated at 12.5-13, the Yeet is the flagship distance driver for Hooligan Discs, another disc golf brand out of Texas, and fittingly their discs are manufactured by Lone Star Disc, just like Sacred Discs that we talked about earlier. Hooligan Discs was started by the owner of the Disc Barn, Garrett, who says that their dream is to become the largest disc golf manufacturer in the world.
In the world. In the world. In the world. In the world.
I guess it doesn't hurt to have big dreams, but with MVP, Discraft, and Innova around, all I have to say is good luck. For now, let's see what the Yeet's all about. Off the tee, it's just like an overstable destroyer. Great torque resistance, decent bit of glide, but lots of overstability. Time's up. Yeet! This is the Aqualight Dragonfly. Aqualight is a company dedicated to making easy-to-throw, lightweight discs that float. And such an idea could only come out of one of the pondiest, swampiest places around, Florida. Aqualight is owned by Florida-based retailer Sun King Discs, and their discs are also manufactured by Gateway Disc Sports in Missouri. I spoke with the owner of Sun King Discs at Idlewild, and he said the inspiration for Aqualight came from so many newer players losing discs in ponds. And since nature in Florida is a bit more metal than other places, it isn't super safe to go swimming for discs. But lightweight discs that float are much easier and safer to retrieve. This Dragonfly mid-range is rated at 5.4-3.1, and in this hemp plastic is a measly 130 grams or so. On a very casual backhand from me, it effortlessly turns over. So just as advertised, lightweight, easy to throw, beginner friendly. Time's up. This is the Neptune Splash. Neptune is the only disc golf manufacturer from the great state of Virginia, founded in 2021. Neptune is known these days as Natalie Ryan's sponsor, as well as for their unique approach to naming discs. Each disc's name is chosen via crowdsourcing from their fans on social media. Neptune currently has 4 discs, 1 distance driver, fairway driver, mid-range, and putter. All of them are available in their premium pearl plastic, while the Splash is also available in their bass base plastic. The Splash is a beadless putter that they say is great for approaches and for throwing off the tee. Rated at 3301, their Pearl Premium plastic has an interesting mix of flex and grip. Caleb puts it on a slight hyzer and it flips up briefly before fading out, but definitely didn't fly very far. For myself, it was definitely a touch more overstable. There are definitely throwing putters that fly further, but the Splash would make for a great approach disc. But time's up. This is the Salient Discs prototype, Touch. Salient Discs may have one of the most scandalous histories of any disc golf company I have attempted to research. Nearly every single piece of information I found online related to one of two things: how bad their products and service were, or the fact that they filed for bankruptcy in 2016. Prior to that, Salient Discs was based in South Carolina. They created a controversial event series, the American Disc Golf Tour, that rather infamously refused to cooperate with the PDGA and had very public disputes about entry fee refunds, payouts, and more. But that wasn't before they put out 10 different molds, including the Touch. The Touch is a beaded putter rated at 2301, and the shape resembles the rounded and big beaded Wizard from Gateway. And off the tee, it had some interesting stability. You can see it flip to flat, but you can also very clearly see when the overstability kicks in and it starts to fade out. You don't typically see that so clearly from a putter. So, to summarize the Touch in one word, interesting. Time's up. This is the Ching Ju Gu. The first version of the Ju Gu was approved by the PDGA way back in 2004. And is famous for its accelerator contours. These grooves are arranged in a circle and are offset from the rim to give players a variety of different grip options. These days, this wouldn't pass PDGA approval, but the Ju Gu was grandfathered in much like the old Turbo Putt among many other unusual discs from yesteryear. Scott Stokely announced earlier this year that he had acquired Ching Disc Golf and their molds, and immediately announced that the Ju Gu was back in production. So how does the new Ju Gu fly? Well, it doesn't for Caleb. He and the contours didn't get along, but being rated at 24-10, is it understable, straight, or something in between? Well, on both of my throws, it came out smooth, flat, and got a very slow turn. So I'd say reliably understable. Time's up. This is the Guso Driver? Who is Guso? I don't know. They're only sold on Amazon. The manufacturer is listed as Juxi Sports or Juxi, neither of which I can find online or on the PDGA approval page. The product page on Amazon says, quote, consistent with PDGA, but nothing about approval information. I combed through the entire list of approved manufacturers and approved discs, and there is no Guso disc or manufacturer, nor is there any Juxi or Juxi Sports. This is also by far the stiffest plastic I've ever felt. Although that Crownme Morning wasn't far off. But hey, there's a chance that it flies good, right? 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 I mean, it's not bad. It gets a lot of turn, but honestly, it's so stiff it feels terrible, so time's up. This is the Vium OBX. We have talked about Vibram discs just once before in our pros and cons of rubber discs video last year. Make sure you check that one out. It's a good one. Vibram are best known for the durable soles they make for shoes and the iconic yellow logo found on the bottom of those shoes. But during their 8 years or so in disc golf, they had 21 molds approved by the PDGA. Their discs, like the soles of shoes, are made from rubber in different levels of stiffness and are still highly sought after despite being discontinued in 2017. The OBX is a mid-range rated at 5403, and this one is one of their stiffer rubber blends. Off the tee, it doesn't seem quite as overstable as advertised. While Caleb released it on hyzer and got somewhat of a stable flight, I threw it flat and got a decent turnover before it pushed straight. Time's up. This is the Wamo Frisbee disc, mid-range. Yep, you heard that right. Wamo, as in the people that own the trademark for Frisbee, and why we don't call it Frisbee golf. Wamo and the PDGA go way back. all the way to 1964. In fact, disc golf's founding father, Steady Ed Hedrick, essentially dreamed up the idea of disc golf while working for Wamo, where he designed and patented the modern-day Frisbee. This mid-range disc doesn't have flight numbers, and it looks like a thinner end of a Rock 3, but does it fly like that? Nope. While the Rock 3 is a bit overstable, this mid-range is super understable. Thanks probably in no small part to this very thin base plastic. Time's up, Wamo. This is the Sportneer Benu. What's a Sportneer, you might be wondering? Or a Benu? Well, when I was researching the Sportneer Benu, which is, as you can clearly see, a 10-speed driver, I found a putter from XCOM Discs, the Benu. So is the Sportneer a Benu, or is that a Benu? Or what is a Benu? Well, apparently it's a bird. Benu is an ancient Egyptian deity linked with the sun, creation, and rebirth. Many people believe it is the origin of the phoenix or firebird. Oh, I get it. Anyways, Sportneer is another Amazon-only outfit like Crownme, and they have high-quality disc golf marketing like this. Wow. How does it fly, though? Honestly, for an unheard-of base plastic driver, not half bad. From hyzer, it flips up to flat briefly before a big fade for one of the longest shots we had with these discs. Benu Benu. Time's up. This is the NSH 1701. NSH stands for Noob Sim House, which is the parent company of NSH Custom Discs. NSH produces 3D printed discs that are PDGA approved. And this is by far one of the most unique discs I've ever found, with a texture unlike anything else in disc golf. And as you can see here, they can even do custom designs on the bottom. NSH has a full line of 18 discs approved by the PDGA, and all of them have Star Trek themed names, including the Borg, Batleth, and Teleporter. NSH doesn't appear to assign their discs with flight numbers, but they say the 1701 is an understable distance driver, perfect for beginners or natural rollers. Now, a lot of people told us when we looked at CNC discs a few months ago that 3D printed discs were the future, not CNC discs, so let's see. Well, they said it would be understable, and it was. And was. And was. Time's up. Well, that was fun. Comment below which of these 16 discs stood out to you. I found the NSH 1701 to be quite interesting, and while it was insanely understable, that's exactly what it said it would be. The Goliath pillar was way more overstable than expected, but the Ching Ju Gu flew great. I expected the contours to be more of a gimmick than something that actually worked. What are some other discs that we've never heard of that we should throw? Leave a comment down below. And also comment below what other discs, tests, and comparisons we need to do next. For Six Sided Discs, I'm Greg. We'll see you in the next one.
Oh,
holy crap. What?
Zone my.
Daredevil is in it.
The old bump and run. Still going, look at it.
That's ridiculous. It hit the ground like 30 feet away. The first version of the Juju was approved by the PDGA. The Guso.
This feels horrible.
Yes, it does feel horrible.
This actually feels like the worst thing I've ever felt in my life.
Now, a lot of people told us when we looked at CNC discs a few months ago that time to play. You know what it sounds like a anime thing.
Time to play.
Here we go. Good morning in the air. Holy smokes. You gotta hold that one.
I had a lot of wibble wobble. If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, or supporting us on Patreon. Your support makes this content possible.